Hello, heathens.
Good day, heathens, or night, or good life. I don't know. It's fine.
um, so in today's episode, we're talking about the pagan holiday Samhain, otherwise known
Mhm,
as Halloween or All Hallows Eve.
mhm.
And we have a lot for this holiday.
I am sure you guys know this, but I love this holiday. It's my favorite. I always have as a kid. My mom is even born on Halloween. So it's always been very special. In fact, one of my first memories about Halloween that I look back at my childhood is we always had like made our costumes. They were never like elaborate. They were very like, we went to this thing as like hobos and stuff like that, right? Or
Hmm.
ghosts. But we always got chocolate cake or cake on Halloween because it was my mom's birthday.
Oh, nice.
Hmm.
That's a cool memory. Yeah, I like Halloween too. I think it's equal enough for me with Christmas, but I like Halloween too. It's a good holiday. It's fun.
Yeah. Did you not have any memories of Halloween?
I don't have any like big ones. No, I think as a kid we didn't. I mean, we went trick or treating, but it wasn't like anything special when I was a kid. It wasn't like we didn't have anything that really would happen, and sometimes we didn't go because my family was super religious. So Halloween wasn't exactly like a
The
thing for
best
me as a kid.
holiday?
But as an
Yeah.
adult, it's gotten better. Like I'm a little sad this year because there is this event that happens in Detroit each year, and it's called Theater Bazaar, and it's 8 floors worth of shows. And I have never missed a year except for the years that they have not ran it since I've been. And I was looking forward to it this year, but they didn't do it because of Masonic temples under new management, and they double booked them. And so as an adult, Halloween has been really fun. But as a kid, it wasn't like my favorite holiday or anything. My favorite holiday as a kid was Christmas.
Yeah. Well, I can see that. That's interesting that they're not having the Theater Bazaar this year. That's very interesting.
Yeah, they double booked it. A lot of people are pretty sad about it. Even Theater Bazaar is sad because it's a bummer because it brings in $100,000 each weekend to the Masonic
Oh,
Temple
I believe
alone.
it. Yeah.
And it's a lot of businesses that get a lot of money from like catering and stuff like that. So it's just crazy
Right.
that they
And
are,
entertainers, like it
yeah,
supports so many entertainers. Like
so many.
the one time I did go, uh, I mean, there were people that were doing those acrobats with the circles and the ribbons, and then they had a whole burlesque, which was amazing and beautiful. They had, do you remember that one lady that was like, she had a shaved head, and I think she came out of somewhere and she looked creepy but beautiful? I don't know if you were there with me, like at that moment. I don't know if we had separated. I can't remember, and there's so much going on.
Yeah, they have like the 8 floors, and each floor has like 3 or 4 shows going on. And there's like suspension, there's like a
Hmm.
freak show, there's like
Hmm.
2, 3 different stages with bands that are playing weird, creepy Halloween music. And
Yeah, yeah.
they even have a BDSM room, which is absolutely entertaining to go into because it's like soft
Hmm.
BDSM, but it's really funny because you could always tell who is very uncomfy being in there. It's really funny.
It'd
It's really
probably be
funny.
me. I'd be like,
I'm like the one
ugh.
person in the room that's cracking the hell up. You could just hear me cackling in the back because I just watching other people, I find it really funny how uncomfy it is. But it's a really cool thing to do. It's super fun. It goes super fast. You get there at like, I don't know, 5, 6 o'clock, and you're there until like 1 or 2 in the morning, and you feel like it's been 2 hours because
Yeah. It's
it's a
overload.
time warp.
Yeah, it is. It's amazing. And the building that they're in is so amazing and
Freaking cool.
beautiful because it's like Masonic temple. So there's a lot of this like knights and like carvings and stonework and masonry stuff. And oh,
And they
it
decorate it like fucking crazy,
melts my
man.
heart. Yeah,
Like the
they
best
did.
table displays you'll ever see in your life. Like
Especially for Halloween because it gets so plasticky so quick.
it does. That's a really great way to say that. It does get plasticky. I like glass.
I like glass. I
I
like
prefer
glass a lot.
glass.
Well, and now you and I, we celebrate part of Halloween. We actually bring the spirit back to Halloween because we do a ritual every year thus far with Rocky and his group too. And I really, really enjoy that part because, like, I don't want to say it's like a church, but it's kind of like a church without it, with just our own flavor. And it's serious, but not like over seriously. Like, and I feel like we're doing good in the world, I guess. Like, it's been very rewarding for me, I should say.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up that like one of the things that we do that you guys could do at home or with a group if you wanted to is we do say this prayer that allows for people to pass that have maybe gotten stuck. If they hear it, we do a prayer for them, and it's basically welcoming them to cross the threshold into the other world because the veil is so thin, it's way easier for them to see and go through.
Absolutely. Well, and us calling them. And if they want, we do still, we free will, all that kind of stuff. We don't force anything. We open up a portal and then we allow whoever wants to cross through to cross through. And then we bless the people that were in our life that has passed through either that day or sometime in our lifetime,
Yeah.
remembering them. And like, and this is a great time if you have altars, it's a great time to put up pictures of loved ones that have crossed or anybody that has touched your soul, in a way to kind of uh give blessings. And you can set out food for them and stuff like that during this time, and it's a really good way to honor the dead and ancestors and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, I'm just gonna say these two little things that will bring us into Nicole's TED Talk. But just to make it clear, you guys, Halloween actually originated from Samhain because it was a pagan festival from ancient Celtic like spiritual traditions, and it was usually celebrated not only on the 31st but until that November 1st, and it's to welcome the harvest and usher in the dark half of the year.
hmm
So with that
the
being said,
the final harvest, right? Like, because there's three harvests, and this
yeah,
is
because
the
there's
final.
yeah, this is like the harvest, like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
with the capital
Capital
T,
T.
the capital H. This is the harvest, like, which we'll talk about some of like the ancient stuff in a while, but it ushers in the dark half of the year, which I think it's important to know what that even means, other than it just being because not everywhere is dark and gloomy like it is here in Michigan during the half year. Our favorite half time of the year when it is dark and gloomy and our little vampy selves don't have to be scared of the sun anymore. We can walk
Yeah.
outside and be like, this is so nice. I don't have to
It's
worry about being
so,
tan because if you're tan in the winter, it's weird.
oh, absolutely.
It's
I'm
really
like,
weird.
oh,
I'm like, can I be make me stark white? I want to be alabaster.
alabaster, please.
Alabaster.
Where's my, where can I click my skin tone?
So, do you want to explain like the dark half of the year and what that means, like spiritually?
Well, I was just going over this thing, and I was listening to Know Thyself, and they explained this in this way, kind of. Um, and I thought it was so amazing because I'd never heard this depth into Samhain, Halloween, and this holiday for the specific year. Now, they first talked about how the the journey of the sun goes through the year, where we have, it really begins in the summer equinox in June. So this would be the birth of the soul, the highest aspect of the sun. This is like spirit. And our translation with the fall of man, even, and how they told us it was a sin when really it wasn't. This was obtaining knowledge, because we can't obtain knowledge without experience, and spirit wanted to gain experience and knowledge. So it fell. So it fell from the sun, and this would be represented from June 21st, the equinox, to the 31st of and the 1st of Halloween and All Saint Days, Samhain and All Saints Days. Those So this would be the aspect of how we fell into matter, so that we could actually experience and gain knowledge to, basically tell the mothership what we have learned.
Mhm.
And by mothership, I do mean divinity. I don't mean
Mm.
aliens.
It is. It's an invasion.
It's an invasion.
An invasion.
So, and it's very interesting to me, that kind of backs us up a little bit, is the fact that it is exactly 39 and 40 days from the equinox to Halloween would be 39, and that is the night aspect of it. How we go from, and how it's we go from the dark into the light of All Saints Day. So we're going into, because this is where we forget, kind of, and we're actually being born. If we were a seed, it would take exactly 40 days for us to germinate, give or take the seed, obviously, whatever. But this is where you actually come and you break through that dirt as a little sproutling on All Saints Day. So now you're worshiping the sun. And we gather knowledge up to the point where Christmas comes, and then that is a rebirth. Um, the rebirth, gaining knowledge again into spring, and then we start it all over again. And really, what these are representing is what we've done, and what we've lost in these little holidays that we celebrate, and now we kind of do it habitually. We don't have a purpose behind it besides material gains, and we've lost that soul. But like, these cardinal holidays is really where we're supposed to connect with divinity, and remember what we're here, how we're supposed to have an experience, gain knowledge, and then continue up the path of, like, Jacob's ladder, back to the source, because
Wait, what's Jacob's ladder?
it's the it's the ladder that they show in the Bible, or to talk about in the Bible, where the angels are coming back into God or divinity, if you don't like that word, but like, back up. It's that, because we fell. So now we need a ladder to get back up. So each
Okay.
step, and I talked about this too, is like, sometimes, like, I can't tell you not to do that, because you need the strength. You need to go through that experience to have the strength to go up the ladder, to go up the tier. And how we talk about, once you get up to a certain level, like, how we say level up, right? So that's the same thing too, is as you're walking up this evolution, and in your lifetime, you're gaining this knowledge, experience, and stuff like that. And then you, like, break through to another level. And this is usually when, like, it gets kind of hard, and you're like, what the fuck? I thought I actually, like, made it somewhere, because things were getting easy. I understood a lot of things. And then you break through, and you're like, well, shit, I got to do this all over again. It gets a little hard. It gets a little messy again, because you have leveled up.
Yeah.
And that's
Okay.
kind of like Jacob's ladder. And again, look this up stuff for yourself too, so you can gain a more connection to it, and understand it in the way through your filter, and that kind of, um sun spirit drops. This really talks this also can represent by the Fool, because like when we were in spirit and we were like, yeah, we want to do this, we want to go on this journey, we want to have these experiences for you. Like I'll go, that's my mission. uh we bite the apple and we are go at some point, like we foolishly bite the apple because we don't know what we're going to go through. So it's kind of represented by the Fool card as well. So this is why our beginning of our journey is so light and airy when we start out,
So you're
because we
talking
have
about the whole thing, like the whole cycle is like the
y-
fool's journey?
yes, yes,
Okay,
the whole
okay.
thing, but it starts in that June 21st era.
Oh, okay.
That's where we like bite the apple because we want the knowledge of an experience to report back to spirit, because this is what we've learned through and that's the thing is, when we look at humanity, no matter what, like where they're at, and this is a really hard concept for me to get sometimes, is that everybody has a purpose on this planet, because spirit will never repeat itself because it's trying to gain this knowledge. Um, and of course, like I don't have all the answers. This is like just the tip of the iceberg kind of thing. It's like I can't explain why wars happen. I can't explain, or I can't even tell you why the good of it is. I mean, I probably could, but then it's kind of a colder way of looking at it, like because then you go back to, you always are back to like, well, what about the children? And it's like, yes, I get that, but like there's a spiritual purpose, there's a matter purpose of these wars and the strife that we have to go through to get to be more spiritual, for lack of a better term, which I don't even like that. Um, to see the bigger picture, to have these experiences, to break down and destroy things that are no longer serving us. And sometimes those are violence, and sometimes that does hurt. Uh, and we have to kind of find a way to marry those things together: love and light, destruction, violence. It's the, we always talk about the middle path that we're trying to go for, right? But right now we're very much in extremes. It's the polarity of it.
Yeah.
In the 40 days, we even see that whole thing about when a person gives birth, there's 40 weeks in the gestation period of the human. So the soul comes in, it gestates for 40 days, and then it can pass through that veil.
So is that like what's happening now though? Is that what we're going to be experiencing, or like did that
Hmm.
already happen?
No, that's exactly what's happening now. So we are in that, what they called like an animalistic, or that's why we wear masks, because it's very much of like, this has represented my animal instinct self. And the next day, when we're born out of it or pass through that veil, we're in the more, we bring in thought and spirit. So now
Hmm.
you're marrying that animalistic emotion, kind of erratic behavior almost, to this thought, this spirit aspect. And that's how you're supposed to like run through the world. It's this balance between spirit and matter. And right now, what we see in the world is where we've been kind of led towards and told that it's better just to be materialistic. And you can even kind of see this in the temperature of the world about spirituality. There's almost like this weird, like, mm, chaotic representation of spirit, because clearly we don't necessarily like the Catholic Church because of all of what we've heard over the news, and like the kind of the sweeping under the rug of the dark side of the Catholic Church, um and other organized religions, uh to the fact that we also see it in enlightenment and metaphysical spirituality as well, where we see this overabundant of light and love, but how that's masking again the dark side. We're bound to do the same thing through metaphysics, spirituality, uh, that that religion is doing, because we're not integrating that dark side. Instead, we pretend like either A doesn't exist, it hurts too much, or whatever. We're still bypassing that whole thing. We're just shifting. We're like, oh, that's bad. We saw the dark. So we shift, right?
Yeah.
We're shifting over here, like, no, we hate religion. We hate that, blah, blah, blah. And then we're shifting into this different, but the same thing.
Yeah,
And we're
just
just gonna
opposite.
bound to, yeah, we're gonna bound to repeat that over again. I really think I want to look into these four cardinal holidays again. So it would be the equinox holidays. And I think what I would like to do or implement in my life, into our lives, is really having those be our holidays and really make them specials, where we bring people in and really connect with divinity at these times, just to remind ourselves of like what we're here for, why we're here. It's the path, it's the experience. It's not so much the worry and the angst of it. And this is what I think we kind of lost, is that we go so much into anxiety because we forgot why we're here. It's kind of funny because it's like, it's really kind of simple. You're supposed to experience stuff, but we deem them bad or good. So then we get kind of lost in the shuffle of everything because we're like, no, that's bad. I'm not supposed to experience that. I mean, I know I try my whole life not to experience angst or embarrassment or sadness or anger or any of these feelings that we've deemed bad or wrong. But those are experiences. You're supposed to have those. Um, let's see here. What else do I got? Oh, so as we go from All Saints Day and into Spirit, so as we're going to December, we're going into this like shadow self. We really start, I think this is where a lot of people get a lot of the seasonal depression, because we're not used to sitting with ourselves without spirit, being in the sun and having all these good vibes, good feelings. We're going into the darker side. Well, we don't know how to go into this darker side. So, what we remember I like the fact that they said Jack o' lantern Jack is called, hold on, I've got it written down. Jack is God is gracious. O is Anne, and lantern is light. So I like this at Halloween, that we like make jack-o'-lanterns with the light inside of it. And I know that there's different interpretations of a jack-o'-lantern. This is just one of them. Um, but I like it because we can take that lantern that we've made for ourselves, into the dark part of the seasons, and really carry the sun with us as we go about, like the hermit in the tarot cards. We always have that light with us, right? That spark of God with us, or divinity. Um, but we forget that too, right? We always have that connection, but as we're in the dark, we kind of get a little like lost. Um, because we forget how to sit with ourselves in the dark. Um, this is the breakthrough, the growth, and the spirituality, so we have better understanding. Uh, yes, I think that's. That's all I got on that. Oh, they did have a little thing about bobbing for apples. So bobbing for apples is like way back, way before the Roman time, back into the mystery. And the representation of the apple is obviously like it's again, it's in the Bible with the tree of knowledge, right? It's almost like a soul aspect. So like you have this apple in a bucket of water that you're supposed to grab, but you can't grab it with your hands. Like you can't grab the soul with your hands. You have to do it through word, through with your mouth. So it's this like, it reminds me that my words have power. So I have to be very careful about how I speak because it's the word of God. It's coming out and we forget that kind of thing. And or we are using it in a different, we're being mouthpieces for other people that have different end goals than what we originally came here for. So the nice thing about the bobbing for apples, it really makes me think about the spirit comes down here into matter, but through water. And that's why water is one of those things that is the closest vibration to divinity that we have here on earth. That's why it's so important to cleanse yourself, your space, your with the water, because it really is the highest vibration. Um, so I would suggest to, if you were interested or curious or asking why, a lot of whys, because I do feel like this is coming up, is start Googling, research, see where it leads you, and then follow those breadcrumbs. Because this is really where you're going to get an understanding. And what's nice is that this will open up doors of consciousness to open your mind a little bit more and be a little more open to things that you see and receive, even experiences and strife. Uh, I think it'll help you understand that this is not being done to you where you're a victim. It's being done for you as a learning, uh, teaching way of doing it, right?
Yeah, and what I'd add to that is if you guys are interested in like some of the breakdowns of like holidays with the Bible and all of that, definitely listen to Know Thyself. They break it down in like a very like you're taking a workshop class type way. Um
Absolutely.
they're super knowledgeable about this stuff, and I think it's because one of them is a professor, if I remember correctly. But they if you don't know where to start with research, start with Know Thyself.
Absolutely. And they're so beautiful and they talk and they love each other so much, and which I love. I mean, like even just listening to it just now, they're like, they sit there and they go, "Oh man, I love you."
We never say that.
No, not at
No,
all.
gross.
Gross. Can't.
Is that all you got for the spiritual side then, buddy?
Yeah, that's what I got. I mean, my loose interpretation of what I got. Yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
think
what I
that was
got.
good. I think
Mhm.
it's nice to have the spiritual side and like then the what I want to say, I guess the pagan side too. You know what I mean? All in like one encompassing thing. To where
Well, and
it's like I
that's,
didn't know a lot of that.
yeah, it's so cool because the more we delve into all of this, I really realize that, like, I don't know, um, it's not one or the other, right? It's not Baptist and Christianity or Catholic or Judaism or Buddhism, and it's not one or the other. It's all of it. Like, stop fighting and making yourself right. Like, it's all right. I mean, it's not all right, but I mean, it is. It's all right, and it's all right. Look at it more as it's all right and find your way through that. And that's how you're going to be a little more compassionate for other people. You're going to, like, instead of being like, no, that's wrong, understand it from a different level and ask why.
Well, just
Even to the, oh,
keep
go
in
ahead.
mind that people just have their own filter.
Absolutely,
It's just as
because they
simple as
have
that.
their own experiences, because they're supposed to have a different experience from you,
Yeah.
right?
And that doesn't make them wrong or right. We don't have to
Mm-mm.
argue other people's stuff. We can just, at the sake of, at the sake of sounding like a little love and light here, can we just love each other a little bit more and like just be open and maybe listen to somebody, and it could be something that you're like, I didn't know that about you and I actually don't like that. But you don't have to say it.
Right.
That
And
doesn't
you're not going to
just
teach
because,
them.
well, just because you learned something new about somebody that you may not agree with and you think that that's actually a horrible opinion to have, does that make you hate them, or does that make you forget all the times you had with them before where you really liked them? Just saying.
No, and I that's a valid point, right? Like, why is it that it's this one thing that ruins everything?
Yeah, I guess it's all about boundaries though too, right? You have to respect other people's boundaries, and if that's where their boundaries lie, then that's where they lie. I
I
can't.
mean, yeah, I mean, I can't force you to be my friend,
Yeah,
right? Like,
exactly.
I can't force you to like me. I am a
Yeah.
lot for some people, and
Well, most people are a lot for others, you know what I mean? It's
well, and
just,
that's the funny thing about the retreat that I went to. I realized that we're all fucking weird, right?
we are all fucking weird in our own ways.
I was like, and there were a lot of aspects that I didn't like on people, and then I was like, the more I was around them, the more I saw myself in them, and those were the aspects that I don't like about myself. And then B, to learn how to like that about them.
Yeah,
It was very cool.
that is cool. All right, buddy, are you ready to switch gears
Yeah,
to the other
let's do
half
it.
of the
Let's do
episode?
it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right, y'all, we're gonna talk about like the history of Samhain and the pagan Celtic, like ancient Celtic spiritual traditions, because there's a lot of shit. When we talked about marriage, there's a lot of things, even just from the Bible, that I didn't know why we did that stuff. Like had like the families sit on opposite sides, remember the aisle, and like all this stuff that I was just like, I don't know why the hell we do it. People just do it.
Right.
That's what they see, so that's what they think weddings need to be, and that's what they do. But this is
Mhm.
kind of like the same thing here. I didn't know a lot of this. Um, so if you guys don't know, it's believed in the pagan tradition. I'm sure Wiccans believe this too. There's quite a few of that in that realm that believe this, but it's believed that the barriers between the physical and the spiritual break down during Samhain, which is, by the way, it's spelled and sounds like Samhain.
Yes.
And Nicole and I have worked meticulously for the years that we have known Rocky to not say Samhain. It's Samhain, like Cowan,
Sow-inn.
Samhain.
Yeah.
But this is allowing more interaction between humans and those in the other world. During this time, if you are somebody who dreams a lot, or even, well, dreams very little, you're probably going to start dreaming a lot. If you are dreaming a lot, you're probably going to have extreme, if you already do dream a lot, you're going to have extremely vivid dreams.
Mhm.
You might start hearing shit in your house. Sometimes keep in mind, if you have cats, it might be the cats, but
Yeah.
you might hear shit, you might see shit, you might see shit outside. I know I have been, my dreams have been absolutely fucking crazy,
Mhm.
super vivid. And I wake up and it's like I'm not even bridging a gap. I am waking up into the same world that I was in my dream. It's fucking weird.
Oh,
So
that's
just know
awesome.
that during this time, if you're somebody who's sensitive to that stuff, you're probably going to be feeling it a lot. And especially if you're like Nicole and you can feel things, you're going to be even more sensitive now, because there's a lot of shit that's going to fuck with the, well, for a bad or lack of term, the muggles.
Right,
It's
right.
it. People
Well,
aren't going to
it's
know they're
trick
being
or
fucked with.
treat. It's
Yeah,
trick or treat. Like,
like it's just, this is the time when all of the spirits, the veil is so thin that they can fuck with you. And we're going to talk about some of the ones in Celtic history, because we hear about this a lot in our classes, at least, and so I wanted to share it because I also thought this was cool. But so it's said that on this night, the night of All Hallows Eve, or Samhain, Halloween, whatever the freaking freak you'd like to call it, freaks. On this night,
heathens.
yeah, heathens. I just called my children that earlier, meaning my cats. I was like, fucking heathens.
Fucking
Um,
heathens.
So on this night, the crone comes to strip the leaves from the trees to quicken the decay of the flesh of the year, so that it may feed into the new life to come. So if you guys didn't just hear Nicole say that, I said it in another way, because once again,
Yeah.
everything blends and mixes. It's a
I was
fucking
like,
melting
oh
pot,
my
baby.
God.
So this is just more of the pagan Wiccan version of it, right? Is that the
Hmm.
crone's going to come. She's going to strip the leaves. She's going to decay the flesh so that everything can get ready for a new chapter to start, new life to start. So we can also ask her, if you're somebody who believes in the three, the three-head goddess, the Hecate, the crone is the one that's important during this time. We can actually ask her to take the unwanted aspects of our own personal year away so that they can be transformed too. We can
Right.
ask for her to just, could you take this and replant, or like, could you kill this and like make it into a fresh new soil for me, please? So if you're
Yeah.
somebody who's in that, try that.
Let go of stuff and give it to the earth,
Yeah.
because that's where that recycling goes.
Mm-hmm.
So stop holding on to it and give it to her so she can transmute it into something beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's her fucking job. She's a crone. She does this. Essentially, this is what she gets paid to do
Absolutely.
with
Absolutely.
energy.
Hmm.
Okay, so back in ancient Celtic history, during this time of the year, hearth fires, which is like your chimney and stuff, right? But it was different, or hearths looked different back then. I'm sure you guys know, but just in case you don't. Um, Hearth fires in the family homes were left to burn while they were gathering the harvest during the day. So on the
Hmm.
31st, you would start your fire in the morning. You and your family would go out and get all that stuff, and you would let your fire burn out throughout the day. After the harvest work was complete, everybody would join the druid priests, there it is,
Yeah.
to light a community fire using a wheel that would cause friction and spark flames. And then the wheel represented the sun and was used while praying to the sun to start the fires.
The fires.
Um, Also, because the Celts believed that the barrier between worlds was breachable during Samhain, I almost said it again, Samhain. Villagers often prepared offerings that were left outside of villages, out fields. It was for fairies or Sids, as it was Celts would have called them. And
Hmm.
the Celts would dress. The reason why All Hallows Eve had taken the dressing and dressing in costume was because Celts would dress as animals, monsters, so that fairies wouldn't be tempted to kidnap them.
Hmm.
Which I was like, I did not know that. I just thought it was, I don't know. I thought it was just fun to dress up.
No, because what isn't it? They would wear mask. Even the jack-o'-lantern, I think, was like a protection symbol.
It was, yeah. I have that. Jack-o'-lanterns were initially carved potatoes or turnips, actually, and they were
Hmm.
filled with coal, and they would place them in the windows or the doorways to frighten or scare away evil spirits.
Hmm.
Evil spirits.
Yeah, because that was the other thing, is because the dead and other spirits and entities are walking among us, and the veil is thin so they can interact with us, is that they would dress up as something scary so they wouldn't know that they were human,
Yeah.
because clearly we're tasty. And
Well, and like, they could steal us and then come back as us, and then nobody would ever know. I don't know the purpose, but so there actually were specific monsters associated with this holiday that I found, and it's monsters that we hear. Rocky, are you listening? Because a lot of this we hear from you all the time, and a lot of this I didn't know. And I know. So there is a creature called the Puka, who was a shape-shifting creature who would come in and receive harvest from the field. So if there's offerings out on the fields, it wouldn't fuck with you. The Lady Gwym, I hope I'm saying that right. She's a headless woman dressed in white who chases night wanderers and was accompanied by a black pig.
oh wow.
I was like, I'm gonna get that for Halloween. Anyway,
I was like,
I'm probably gonna butcher this name, but the
oh.
Dullahan sometimes appeared as impish creatures, so they were small, and
Hmm.
sometimes headless men on horses who carried their heads. i.e. headless
Headless
horsemen.
horseman. Mm-hmm.
And then there was a group of hunters known as slogs. I also don't know if I'm saying that right. I'm not Celtic, so sorry. But it was basically a fairy host, and they would hunt on Samhain and kidnap people as well. So all of these were believed to be creeping about at night during
Mm-hmm.
Samhain, and you had to do all this stuff to keep yourself and your family safe. Um, so there are some pretty popular stories that are told during Samhain because that's what they would do around the hearth fires, talk about their
Mm-hmm.
heroes. And one of their biggest heroes is Fianna. One of the most popular Samhain stories told during like the festival when the fire was going was of the Second Battle of the Mag Tuired, which portrays the final conflict between the Celtic pantheon, known as the Tuatha De Danann, and an evil oppressors known as the Fomor. And that it states that the battle unfolded over the period of Samhain. Now, if that is something that perks your interest, your little ears are perked to the gods, just look up the Second Battle of Mag Tuired, look up the Tuatha De Danann. There's a lot behind it, a lot behind it. So also, like I had mentioned, that their Fionn McCumiel is also talked about a lot during Samhain because he faced down the fire-breathing underworld dweller alien Island. Rocky's screaming at the TV right now. Like, I don't know how to say this, Rocky. But he would burn
Heathens.
down the Hall of Terra every Samhain, and Samhain also figures in another one from Fia Makumiel legend where the hero is sent to the land beneath the waves, and that took place on Samhain as well, and it features descriptions of the hero's gatherings for the holiday too. So there's like a ton of Celtic mythology and lore behind Samhain. I
That's
did
so
not know any of that.
fascinating. No, that's so fascinating.
I'm like, truly, I didn't fully finish all my research for Samhain because I did get stuck in a little bit of a rabbit hole reading more Fionn
Mm-hmm.
McCumiel stories, and it was pretty fascinating. So again, if that's something that perks your interest, definitely start looking into those stories. There's a lot of power in them. Um, it gets wild, essentially. Okay, so I also didn't know this, but October 31st became All Hallows Eve or Halloween
Mm-hmm.
and contained much of the traditional pagan practices before being adopted in 19th century America through Irish immigrants bringing their traditions across the sea. Didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Also, didn't know trick-or-treating is said to have derived from ancient Irish and Scottish practices in the nights leading up to Samhain. In Ireland, mumming is what this is called, was the practice of putting on costumes and going door to door and singing songs to the dead. And cakes were given as presents. They're
Mm-hmm.
called, where is it? It's right here. Soul cakes.
Soul cakes.
So would often be given as like a soul cake in exchange to like,
For singing?
yeah, basically for reciting prayers for your deceased loved ones, basically, or
Oh,
singing
that's
songs for
cool.
them. And it would be like this physical exchange of cakes being given as payment. So I was like, wow, I didn't know that. And
That's really
then
cool.
another tradition, which is what I want to do this one. It's called having a dumb supper.
A dumb supper?
A dumb supper. So many Irish and Scottish Celts also appease their dead with their traditional dumb supper, which I didn't know that what this was called, but this is what happens in New Orleans a lot for people that know that they have people in their houses or their restaurants. Basically, on
Yeah.
All Hallows Eve, supper was served in absolute silence, and one place was set at the head of the table for the ancestors. It was said you never look directly at the street seat, and Nicole and I would be like, did you see it yet? But it was said you never look directly at the seat, for to see the dead would bring misfortune. So then after the dinner was done, they would take that untouched plate and cup and they would put it outside for like the puka and all the other animals. It would be another
Mhm.
offering for like whichever animal out there creature wanted it.
No, I tell a lot of people that if they, especially if they had a loved one just pass, or even if they had one that they're having a hard time like processing and stuff, is to any family get together is set them a plate,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then what I always do is I would leave it outside for the night. And in the morning, obviously clean it off. If it hasn't been eaten or whatever, you can clean it off. You can throw it in the forest if you want to do that. You could throw it away, whatever you want to do with it. Um, but it's such a great thing for not only our physical being to heal from that and have a connection that you're nurturing the spirit on the other side or whatever, but it's a great
Mhm.
thing to do for the spirit as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, the only other things I have is that you can create a corn dolly around Samhain. Corn dollies are traditionally crafted from the last sheaves of grain harvested during the season. Um, and I believe that's also for protection as well.
Hmm.
Of course, trick or treating, you dress up again, warding off evil spirits. And then, of course, there's a bunch of different things you guys could be doing. This is a good time to get in touch with your spirituality, and your intuition. You could be scrying, you could be automatic writing, you could be meditating, getting information from spirit. The veil's super thin. So right now is a good time to be really getting in touch with your intuition. You could make it a
Hmm.
lot stronger. You could get stronger connections. Also, I think a big thing is connecting with your ancestors, not just the ones you know, because you might not, you're never gonna know all your ancestors. I mean, our bloodlines all go back freaking hundreds of years, right? So,
Yeah.
now is a good time to be doing ancestry work, which you can look that up. Just literally look up ancestry work, metaphysical. And then you can find a bunch of different things to start getting in touch with your ancestors as well. So,
Hmm.
well, thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Very nice. Very nice.
Snaps for Cassie. Snaps for Nicole.
Huh. I'd say the only thing that I was reminded of while you were talking was, of course, when you brought up Hecate, we should talk about this is the time period too where Persephone goes back into the underworld. Demeter is upset and searching for her daughter. Um,
Yeah, that's like a
and
long period of time with pagans, it seems like, doesn't it though? Because we had like what's the last one we had? Um, um,
Lammas,
help me, help me.
Was it Lammas?
It was Baben.
Maven.
Because I think that was like a big theme for that one too. So like it's like this big period of time where it's like, but I
Well,
wonder
if
if
it's interesting because if she's the way I was thinking about this, that she's the, spring. So she's that first like growth that we have in the spring, new birth, all that kind of stuff. So now the fact that she is essentially dying,
yeah, like
going,
starting her descent.
yeah, yeah, and going into the underworld and being the queen of the underworld next to Hades.
You know what you made me just question too is I wonder if now is a good time to just light a candle or do something for Demeter as well, because like I wonder if anybody really, I'm sure there are people that are devoted to her that do, but I
Hmm.
wonder if it's a good time to also honor her and her feelings and like, I don't know, try to give her peace and solace or something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that mother aspect of like losing something. And it could very well be this whole Sophia thing too. Demeter could represent the Sophia thing and us falling from her, right? So
Yeah.
if we are Persephone and Demeter is, say, God or divinity, we fell from her. And this is the part where we're separated until we come back together in, the summertime. Um, I really want to research this or Sophia. Sophia is coming up really big, and this divine feminine we've seeing right now in the world, where a lot of like temples are being found that are feministic, like they found something for Aphrodite. They have found a Hecate temple that they've unearthed or whatever. Um and then so I really think we're getting back to like this rebirth of the divine feminine, which I'm super excited about.
Yeah, I agree. Really quick, this, I don't know why you're talking about all that, made me also think about this. Just to get back into a quick 3D train of thought. Now is the time, my heathen friends, to be taking your freaking vitamin D, okay?
Yes.
Vitamin D
God
helps a
damn, take care
shit
of you.
ton when the days are shorter and the dark is longer. It helps with your mood, and it really helps with seasonal depression. You want to start earlier than you think, so you can start building up your body, and you can keep this level for your body to feed off of to help your
Yes.
mood. It'll help a lot with seasonal
Yes.
depression, okay?
And listen, for your vitamins, I've learned this hack. Either you do like Cassie or me and you put it in your calendar and have it alarm you, or I've put mine in my makeup bag.
Oh yeah, I put mine in my purse now.
Yeah.
So then if
So
I
like
forgot, it's right there.
it's right there.
Because you never leave without your purse. And
No.
men, you never go to work without your car.
Right. Put it in your car. Have
Put
it
your
stay
freaking
there.
car, man.
Be smarter. And really take this time to, if you know this about yourself, be proactive, right?
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
start really like, okay, so fine, we've all got it hard. I get it. Like, maybe this happened to you and you really identify with it, and I get it. But we've got to start being proactive with ourselves. We're never going to have compassion for anybody else if we don't have compassion for ourselves.
Yep.
I
Preach it.
can't take care of my daughter if I don't take care of myself.
Yes.
So, I hope, I want to inspire you to really nurture your soul, nurture yourself. And you have to, like, you can't always be baby bird it. You have to go out and do it yourself. You really have to, like,
Listen, I'll push you off the cliff, but whether you keep falling, that's up to you. You want to
right,
grab on, dog, sit there, but I'll help push you.
right, right.
I'll
I'll
push you
push you
off the
over
cliff.
that the
Yeah,
threshold
I
for
can.
sure.
We could be the ones that help to push you off the threshold. Whether you trust the fall or you try to stop it is up to you.
Hmm.
It's the full man.
It is.
What you
Walk off
can't
that
see is
cliff.
me and Nicole in the back of that card, waiting to push. Well, my friends, I hope you guys all have a good Halloween, a good Samhain, whatever it may be that you are
Be joyous. It's such a fun
celebrating.
time, you
Dude, it's so
know?
much fun.
Hmm.
I hope
Be with
this,
friends and family, like, yeah.
yeah, I hope it also just gives you a good insight to what we're looking forward to spiritually for the upcoming months, as well as also some insight into why the hell we do the things we do. Like, what's
Hmm.
the tradition but why do I paint my face like a skull every year? It's because I love
Right.
skulls, but
Because I love skulls.
but yeah, and just I hope that you guys have a great Halloween,
Hmm.
a happy Samhain, and yeah, I think that's
And
it.
this is where this is the time that we're enjoying life and we're connecting with spirit at the same time.
Yes.
And, do that however you want to express that.
Do it, baby.
Yeah.
All right, peace out, my friends.
Bye.